Okay, so what did you guys think of like the chapter overall? Or like what did you use or anything? Or like what was it mainly about?
The future of digital analytics.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting how they mentioned what they talked about in like the previous edition of the book, or like when they wrote it before,
Mm-hmm.
and then like where it stands now. And then I think like I think it's like a few years old, this version. So like thinking about like how it has changed since then, I thought was like interesting.
Yeah.
I talked a lot about just like the growth of like different things.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. And I thought it was pretty cool that it just like sums up all the chapters and it addresses like some of the like I guess improvements that could happen, or like the predictions like 5 years later on the things we read about. So that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Parts about like intelligence were cool, and the parts about like consumer privacy. I think that kind of stuff is really interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, something that I thought was interesting was that the book mentioned that like 68% of marketing executives do not use data to make their business decisions, and that there's like 2.7, I don't know if I'm saying this right, is it zettabytes or of data existing today, and I just thought it was interesting how majority of people don't use that information. Why do you think digital data is crucial for a company?
I mean, I think because it really just helps you to gain an understanding of your customers. And I mean, if you don't understand your customers and know exactly like what their desires are and what they need from your brand and from your company, then like how are you going to be able to create like company goals and like create like an end game? Like it really sets the basis for like your entire company and like your, I guess, like your plan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I guess like if you have that information, it's just like you could improve your company by so much if you just like knew how to use it. I guess it's like something that you have but you're not really like using to help your company. So I feel like it's a setback in some ways.
Yeah, I agree. I think that like in terms of like marketing and that, I guess, kind of scope of what we've been talking about in this class, it's really important because if you don't have the data from your digital platforms, you can't understand your customer, which is like the most important thing in terms of marketing, because you need to understand your customer first so you can deliver them the ads that you think will be like give you a return on investment, I guess. So I think that understanding that data from the platform helps with that, as well as like the omni-channel like marketing and having the full experience of like everything being cohesive. If you don't use any data, like it's not going to be cohesive at all.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so one of those sections was like how to build your digital analytics, and they said like you guys said to like develop your company goals and know what the company is trying to achieve, and like understand your customer better, and to understand how your digital marketing like programs could perform is really important to know if you're doing something right or wrong. And then it also talked about like identify internal resources, and then build reporting requirements, so that was a section. And like, why is it important to create a reporting requirement? I guess, okay, I could answer it. Well, the book said that it's important for your boss to know what they're getting out of their investment, or what they're getting out of it. And then it said they also talked about develop a program schedule. So why do you think it's important to develop a program schedule?
I mean, I think having a schedule in any aspect of your life is super important. So I guess knowing like when you're using a specific program, when to like utilize certain things and when you're gonna like launch certain things, like just kind of keeps you on track. So like everybody's not confused, and it kind of keeps everybody like together, because one person could think they're doing it this day, another person could want to do it 2 days from now. But like if you have a schedule, everybody knows like, oh, we're doing this today, this tomorrow, this next week. So it just keeps everybody like on the same page and organized.
Yeah.
Yeah, something that I have talked a lot about in my MIS classes is like implementing like programs or like new code, or like if you're working for a client and you have this project, like implementing the project. And there's like phases of implementation. So like you start off with like the bare bones, and then you kind of work your way up to implementing the whole things, just so that if you're like not, just so that if you implement it all at once and things don't work, then you can like go back and fix the errors and things like that. So like a schedule for like your programs that you're trying to use is important, because you want to be able to make sure everything works correctly and not be stuck with a messed up program.
Yeah. Do you guys have like any experience where like you felt like you needed to develop like a schedule, or a schedule worked like really well for you guys?
I mean, I think obviously like being a student, like we have to create schedules, like at least like somewhat in our day-to-day lives, like set aside time like when we're going to study and do our homework, and like obviously schedule in our classes, and then schedule time to like eat, schedule time to like rest and recoup. So I mean, yeah, I think just creating a schedule around being a student is something that I've done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I guess for me, like just like all the group projects I've had, I guess for this final, I feel like it's been really important to set schedules to do. Like my other class with Dr. Martinez, we have like this really big assortment, and like it's just like this big project that's due, kind of like this class too, but like I feel like my group is really good about setting schedules before meetings. Like we'll be like, okay, for this in 1 hour we will be doing this, and next hour we'll be moving on to working on this. So I feel like it just helps us like be on the same page, and then like work towards the same goal, I guess, and have like some type of scheduled timeline to be doing things. So I guess just like group projects have been teaching me a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I guess something like in terms of like work that I can like think of, at my job, I've talked about it before, but I call like prospective Baylor students. And I mean, you guys can remember when you were applying to colleges, there's like different phases. And so you have to like schedule out when you're gonna call certain students, and like when you're gonna collect like more data. So like when you're calling students that have like never applied or never heard of them, you're collecting data from like the SAT website, people that requested information from colleges. And then as you move forward, you collect more data from them when they like submit their application. And then you can like schedule out when you're gonna contact these people to like make sure they have the most up-to-date information, and that they're like still like getting a connection to like the university.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so then the next part was they talked about achieve participation from other parts of the organization. So like they said that one thing that consistently happens is that companies attempt to start small, but they don't stay very small long. When people in other parts of your organization realize the power of digital data, they want to participate. So they said before launching your program, like to give thought on how other parts of the organization can participate. So then I was thinking, like, what are some ways that you could encourage participation from like other employees at your company? Or like, how would you motivate them?
Maybe, well, I've never had experience, but like thinking on like a smaller scale, I guess maybe like free food. I don't know, like make it like a lunch activity or something, and then but like you're actually low-key trying to get them to like enjoying and participate on other parts of like whatever your goal is, because I feel like that would be beneficial. I'm not sure. Like that's how like my apartment, when they try to get us to go do stuff,
Yeah.
they just have free food. I feel like that always helps. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe like hosting an event. So it's like kind of like a big company meeting, but like it's also like a really fun event where you can like dress up and like as Christy said, like have food and drinks, but like then like it's them explaining the like digital analytics and like them talking about like the new innovations and how everybody in each like department can contribute. So it's like, oh, come here and have food and drinks and dance and have a good time, but like also like here's how you can contribute to the new thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I feel like if people are having more fun, they're more prone to like want to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like just like going off of that, like any sort of incentive, like if you want people to donate financially to some new analytics or something like that, like any, sort of like extra work that they're putting in or extra money that they're giving, like what are they going to get out of that? So like some sort of incentive
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah.
participate, whether it's like food or like something bigger.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. And then next it kind of taught, the next section was called watching how digital analytics disciplines evolve. And it said how like the digital marketing analytics industries are changing really fast. So it makes predictions like more difficult. And so I was kind of thinking like, can you I don't know if you guys can think of this like off the top of your head, but like if you could create like a new digital analytics tool, like what would you create? Like, do you think anything's like missing that's not out there already that you could, or like, do you think something that's not popular now will be popular in the future? Um, I don't know. If you can't think of anything, that's fine, but I was just curious.
I think digital analytics tools that keep track of just like consumer data and like what they want, what they like, what they need. I think that that's always going to continue to grow in popularity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know if this like exists, but like when I think of digital analytics, I think of like Google Analytics, and you type in your website and you can track like clicks and all that stuff. And I'm like not as familiar with like all the different software options that you have for like that type of thing. But if there's something that you can use for like every platform and it's all in like one thing. So if you had like Google Analytics, but it was for like your entire like digital presence, like your emails and your social media and your app and your website. Like, I don't know if that's a thing or not, but I feel like it should be, just so that you can like compare all in one, like, platform, like the different engagement between different like social media accounts and things like that. So I'm sure they have them for like
Yeah.
individual, but I don't know. Like
Yeah.
it could be a thing already, but I think that
Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, and then so then yeah, it said then the next section is called looking back at how social media listening has evolved. So it said like social listening tools now have sophisticated user interfaces that allow customers to do everything from polling social media conversations to analyzing those conversations using machine learning and artificial intelligence techniques. And then it also went on to say more organizations than ever are using oh wait, I said that already. Maybe. But oh yeah, then the book said that most of social listening vendors have integration with major social media management systems, tools, and then it gave examples of Hootsuite and Spreadfast. Has any of you guys heard of those?
I've heard of Hootsuite. I think it's similar to Google Analytics, maybe, but I've never like used.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have heard about that.
And then it said like, to the credit of the social media listening vendors, they have made their dashboards. Most of social listening. Oh, whoops. Accidentally said, sorry, I said that already. Okay. So then the book talked about how the first edition of this book, they explained like command centers. So they said like, they gave examples of how like Dell and Gatorade were like the first to have these centers, and they continued to maintain them, but they've like changed a lot since then. So oh yeah, so then how have these command centers like changed today?
And I guess just like growing in capabilities, and like they have stronger like listening tools and abilities to like obtain more information about customers through their tools. I mean, I feel like each year, like these tools get more and more advanced. So I think even just in a couple years, like they've probably made a lot of advancements just on command centers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think like in the book, it's saying like they, have like really advanced the command centers to be able to like understand trends before they're really trends, or like listen to the conversations. And I feel like that, just along with like things that we've kind of seen, come out like Alexa and things like that. It's like things are becoming more, I guess, easy to like comprehend what we're like trying, like a trend that we're going towards with just like a sentence or a tweet or something, rather than like looking for specific data points. It's like they, like the artificial intelligence can read what you're like trying to get at just based off of like keywords or the tone of what you're saying too. Like a lot of them understand like if you're negative or if you're happy, just by using like artificial intelligence and like machine learning and stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, going off of that, I have like a bridge.
Oh yeah.
It's just about this section in general on like social listening. it talks about how like social listening has like still so much room to evolve, and how in the next 5 years it is predicted that the technology will advance more and it will be also used more. And this just reminded me about the show we watched, and how um I guess just like crossing boundaries, I guess, like when does it like too much information, and when does this like start invading our privacy, I guess. Like that's pretty scary to think about how our lives would be monitored even more, and then like there will be more listening, because like it's just saying that like right now it's like not like there's a lot more room to evolve. So I was just thinking, I was like, oh, I can't even imagine like what would happen. And then like I was as I was like thinking more, I was like, well, in the future, like will we have things like where we purchase to like block these technologies, like voice canceling devices on our computers? You know how like we have like camera covers, like what if we have like I don't know, I was just thinking, but like it's just interesting. But it just reminded me of like the show we watched in this class, and on like privacy and all that.
Mhm.
Claire, I actually have a bridge too.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So I just was talking about how like brands use social media listening tools to monitor and analyze conversations, which we just talked about. And that these tools give brands deeper insight into their competitors and also specific topics that are really popular amongst consumers. And that these companies use like keywords and mentions to monitor and analyze. And so on socialmediatoday.com, I found that Facebook announced a new integration with Spotify so that users can listen to music and podcasts directly on Facebook without having to open a third-party app. And I just said that this proves that brands and companies are becoming more advanced in the social media listening aspect. And that Facebook obviously noticed that through social media listening tools that users love Spotify and Facebook, and that users were craving something more. And so that's exactly what consumers got.
Interesting. Did not
Yeah.
know that. Okay, so then since that section was like on how social media has kind of like evolved, do you guys like or like what are like some features that you remember that like we have or that social media like used to not have before when it first came out, but like now it has? Or can you think of any features?
I guess like Instagram stories, like stories, I feel like used to be like a Snapchat thing. Really, so that's how I thought. So I remember when Instagram came out with stories, I was like, oh, that's crazy. Like they're trying to copy Snapchat. And then I mean, I guess it works because a lot of people now like use Instagram story more. And then I guess like Instagram Reels, like it's kind of like TikTok. It's like an Instagram version. So I guess those are some features that are added that used to not be there.
I was gonna say like Instagram Reels and then like Instagram Live.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like replacing streaming, kind of the idea.
Mhm.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think something also that's pretty big is like the shopping feature on Instagram, like tap to shop or swipe up
Yeah.
the link to this that I'm wearing. And it's really like, because like you talk about stories, and when they introduced it, it was like share your stories with your friends, like yada yada yada. And now it's this huge like marketing thing. It's like influencers like, oh, swipe up for my shirt and blah blah blah. So I feel like that has grown a lot since they first like launched that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then the next section, it says diving into search analytics. And so what is a search analytic? Or like how could it help a marketer?
I mean, I guess like search is just kind of like I kind of see search as like the old version of like digital, because it's like I guess search engines have been around longer than social media has, in terms of like marketing. But I think that just based off of like what the book is saying and things that we've seen, like search analytics is like making sure you are using the right keywords and like making sure you're placing the right ads to the user based off of what they're like searching. So if they search something in the search bar, like, I don't know, white dresses or something, and it'll pop up like ads for like white dresses, and making sure that you're using like the keywords correctly. And then also like if they click on the ad link, that the brand or whatever, they're like paying for that ad spot. So whenever it gets clicked, they get charged for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In the book, it talked about, like the different metrics. And so I think like total clicks is like a super important metric, because then a brand or a company can know like exactly like how many clicks they're getting per day on like a certain, piece of clothing or a certain product. And so like that way you can know like what your most popular products are, and like whether something isn't getting as much attention or whether something is getting a lot of attention. So I think that total clicks is like super, super important.
Mm-hmm.
I also think, oh wait, everyone's frozen. That's not good.
The metrics use like the total click acquisition. And so the book talked about companies have you think companies should change like those metrics, or do you think they should continue to keep them the same, or do you see like one of them not being like relevant anymore in the future?
I guess like it says that they haven't changed. I'm actually pretty surprised they haven't. Like they said that the way those metrics have been calculated hasn't changed in years. So I guess like it is working, but maybe like there are things that can be updated and tweaked with. But I feel like maybe they can still keep like the general idea. And yeah, because it's also in the book it says like we don't see that changing anytime soon. So I feel like maybe implementing some updates would be nice, but I don't think people would completely change how they are like using it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think all of these things have been working, and I think that they have really, really helped the industry. So I don't see them going anywhere. But I do agree that like maybe like updating these metrics or maybe adding a couple new ones would be nice and helpful.
Yeah, for sure. And then the next section was called Looking into the Audience Analysis Crystal Ball. And it said like tools from social listening vendors have begun to provide rich data on demographics, geographics, and audience characteristics, relying heavily on data from channels such as Facebook and Twitter. So then why do you think it's important for a company to understand their audience?
So that they know how to effectively market to them and how to effectively cater to them. Because if you don't know your audience, then how are you going to know how to give them what they want?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I guess like it's like what we talked about in other or other chapters, like different demographic, different age, even just like different age groups. Like people use different types of social media, and like so then like different marketing strategies might work better for some groups than others. So I think it's important to understand so you know how to reach your audience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think also like with geographics too, like something that's really popular is like the Snapchat filters, like per location. And like, they always have Snapchat filters for like big events and stuff. And I think that like making sure, like I can just think of like maybe like football or something. Like if it's a Super Bowl, like everybody's gonna get the Super Bowl ads, but maybe if there's like a football game closer to you, you might get like a Dallas Cowboys like geo ad or something. So it's like making sure you're targeting the right people based off of location too is really helpful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, so can you guys think of, I guess, a company that does a really good job, like understanding their audience, or like, have you had a really good experience with one?
I think an example I saw is I think Aerie is they have like a TikTok account and I think they started reposting when the leggings were the TikTok Aerie leggings are blowing up. They like started reposting the like viral videos and they also got the girl that did go viral to advertise for more leggings and sponsored her. So I feel like that's just an example of how like they've been like really watching and seeing like what's helping their brand because when that TikTok blew up, like their leggings obviously sold out. So they did find the like why, like the reason why it's blowing up and understand like the trends. And then they then sponsored her and now like people are like following up more. So I just feel like that's just an example of like them conforming to like what the new like trends are and the new social media platforms. And I feel like that is a good way to advertise for their target audience, like our age people. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then the next section is called Forecasting the Content Analysis of the Future. So it talks about how like it's important for a company to tailor their content to their target audience. And then I was wondering if you guys ever felt like a company like didn't do that or and got like a lot of backlash from their audience, like they did the opposite of
I
tailoring.
mean, yeah, I know for the longest time, like Victoria's Secret was like super against like plus size and using plus size models and catering to that market. And like, even like I guess it was the CEO or like a higher up came out and was like, no, like we just don't like Victoria's Secret doesn't cater to these women like plus sizes. And like everybody like freaked out and they were like, like conform to the times. Like all of these brands are like conforming to plus size women and making plus size clothing. So like by you not doing that, that's obviously going to make people not like you and you're going to lose business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think another example would obviously be like Brandy Melville. I think they still don't really haven't changed their branding, which is surprising because I feel like they've been having the same backlash for a while. Um, I guess like their thing is they use like skinny models that are usually like predominantly white, and then like I feel like people have like had problems with that because it's like also an unrealistic body image and just like a very particular. Most of them are blonde as well. So like I feel like they got a lot of backlash on that, but they haven't really changed their branding too much. I don't think, at least the last time I checked, still the same. So
Yeah.
that's one of the things. And then like it's like a trend to make fun of how bad and the image is almost. I feel like because I feel like people that work there will also come out with stories and stuff, and those also go viral. So it's almost like a trend to like bash on them, which is I think a bad thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. And then it talked about, or that section said, the idea behind a content index is that you are presented with a series of metrics to evaluate your content. So, like likes, comments, shares, clicks on Facebook, that are on a different scales and carry different levels of importance to your business. So then it says a content index would take every piece of content you have created on that channel and then gather the relevant metrics and apply a weighted score to each metric. And that content index is important because it allows you to more accurately assess content preferences based on your organization's priorities, instead of just counting a particular activity and likes, comments, and shares and whatever. And then it said it can help you figure out a piece of content on social media and how it's impacted the customer. Okay. And then after that, the next section is understanding the influencer analysis landscape. And it says online influencers are still a central way to marketing programs. So like, why do you think influencers are still like such a powerful marketing strategy?
I mean, I think because like so many like specifically like young women like look up to these like influencers and fashion bloggers and TikTokers, almost they look up to them like almost as like older sisters or like for guidance and like I mean, I think that that's it. I think that so many people look to them for just general guidance, and I think that's really, really, I think it's really effective. I think bloggers have become like such a huge thing. Like even me, like I'm addicted because I love I love clothes and I love seeing like how they put together different things and like all the different cells. And even when they just sit there and rant about their lives, like I'm just drawn to it. And so it's like I almost look to them as like an older sister role. And I think that it's just super, super effective in marketing because they're so good at convincing girls to buy things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, I think it's just like a trend shift. I feel like back in the day, maybe people used to follow more like celebrities, and I guess like influencers are now like the modern day celebrity because in some ways they're more relatable, and you can like imagine yourself, like you're just more similar to them, and they're more reachable. So that's like what Lucy was saying, how like it's more, they feel more like a big sister and not like an A-list celebrity super far away. So when they are like recommending products, I feel like people tend to believe them more because it just seems more like personal, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Like they're much more relatable in terms of like just what your like normal life looks like. And I feel like when I see a celebrity, if I do see like a big celebrity like advertising a product, it just seems so fake. Like I'm not gonna listen to them. Like they're just obviously doing it for like the money, which I mean the influencers are too, but I feel like they are much more intentional about the products that they choose to endorse because they know that their followers are probably going to try it out, or they want to recommend things that they truly stand by, so they're not going to like take brand deals from like something that they don't believe in. So I feel like it's just much more like I trust them more, like I trust their opinion more in what they're saying, and it's easier for them to do more like product reviews and like native content where it looks just like a normal video and not like a advertisement. So I agree that it's like a lot in terms of like social media and stuff, it's a lot more effective than like just an advertisement with a celebrity in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that they make it a point to like be relatable. Like some of them will be like, oh, like I'm having a bad mental health day today, so I'm gonna take the day off to spend with my kids. Or like, oh, I woke up sick today, like I'll get back to y'all tomorrow. And it's like, oh my gosh, like I'm not the only one that like suffers from anxiety, or I'm not the only one that like gets sick all the time. Like they make it a point to be like, hey, like I'm real, like you can identify with me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. So then, like, looking into the future, do you think people will get sick of influencers promoting products all the time? Or, like, do you think there's going to be a new, like, group of people? Like, before it was, like, celebrities and now it's influencers. Do you think there's going to be something new in the future, or you think it's still going to be effective? Like,
I think it's still going to be effective as long as influencers continue to be real. Because, like, in this day and age, people are all about being like your real, true, authentic self. And so I think as long as influencers and bloggers continue to conform to like their true, genuine selves and continue to show like their day to day life and not just like the highlight reel, then I think they're going to continue to like maintain popularity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then the next section was like understand where digital analytics go from here, and talked about how companies listen to social media conversations and like how could that be beneficial for a company to listen to social media conversations.
Wait, can you ask that one more time, Claire? I'm so sorry. I like really zoned out.
No, you're good. Why is it beneficial for like companies to listen to like social media conversations?
Oh, because like social media is such a prominent thing in this day and age. Like everybody is so consumed by it. And so like obviously if something's important to us, like we're gonna take it to social media, whether it be like saying something on Twitter that happened to us or like tweeting like something or not tweeting, like posting something on Facebook that's important in our lives or like on Instagram, like posting like a new outfit that we got, like or on a story, like, oh, like I'm shopping here today. Like it literally, social media literally gives insight into every part of our lives because we put everything out there. And so I think using social media to like get insight into consumers like wants and needs is genius.
Yeah, I totally.
I have like a bridge.
Oh yeah, go for it.
I wrote that the book says the number of data is growing, but the number of companies taking advantage of the data is not. So I think that it's helpful that throughout the book we have been reading how to identify useful data and how to use it. And example would be when we went over social media platforms and we like defined different terms on like what data to watch for, kind of what like Lucy was talking about, like Twitter, like retweets or whatever, and Instagram story shares. It's just like different terms for each social media. And now that we have learned these tools, we can like in the future, if we were to work in companies, we can like help them take advantage of these data because we learned all about it. And this also reminded me of like my entrepreneurship project, I guess, because like we are trying to do like a startup marketing firm, and we said that an advantage for our age people to work in marketing and advertising is that we like pretty much grew up with these social media platforms and like we are really familiar with it. And I think that like that's like a valuable skill to have, so I feel like it'd be useful for us, like just our age people in the future, to work in these fields.
Yeah. I have a bridge too. Christy, it's so funny. We've chosen the same things for our bridges. So I was just saying that like obviously it's no secret the digital analytics is becoming super significant in the world of business and marketing, and that like businesses, in order to be successful, need to start adapting to these tactics, and also it's important to set goals within business, and so on shrm.org, it is said that digital analytics will shape HR post-pandemic. In the article, the benefits of depending on technology and digital analytics more is emphasized. It says that if an HR manager can show how much manual processes cost and how technology can reduce inefficiencies while saving money, then the leadership team might be convinced to invest in this technology. And I said that this proves that digital analytics and technology are eventually going to take over. And then I also kind of at the beginning of the chapter, we talked about like how important goals are. And so this kind of tied into the article that I found. And I said, as far as goals go, the company in this article sets four for themselves. The goals summed up are to accelerate migration, utilize digital tools, reinvent the HR operating model, and create HR agility. And I said, this just shows that this company has a plan and an end game, therefore meaning that they're more likely to succeed.
Nice. Okay, and then the next section was bridging the analytics talent, which basically talked about how it's crucial for like businesses to hire people that know how to interpret the data collected like on social media. And it said ways to help was understand what goes into a proper analytics job description, have an open mind, remember that some skills do not show up on the resume or LinkedIn profile. And remember that some I said that already. So that was, and it said overall, like having a group that consists of strong researchers will make the development of digital analytics capability easier. Okay, and then the next section after that was housing your customer data. And it says it means that every time you embark on a new digital research assignment, you must go to one of the tools, develop something into a profile, export the data, and analyze the data. And so then it talked about how to build or building a cross-functional team. And it says to build this, you need a team that includes marketing, market research, IT, social or digital media, and analytics. So like, why do you think it's important to have a cross-functional team and not just like one person from one background?
Well, I mean, because one person from one background can't do every job.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like, they're not gonna know everything. So I think that having like a multifaceted team is super important because you can pull strengths from each individual person, because like each person's going to have a different background, and it's just up to you to figure out what their backgrounds are, what their strengths are, and putting them together to make like a power team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, and then it talked about detail all the data inputs, gather technical specifications, and then ensure that you have the ability to query the database. So like, why would it be important to be able to like filter the database information that you get?
Well, I just know for my job, that's what, like, we have to run queries to get a list of students. And so if you have every student that's applied to Baylor in one big large data set, and you want to call people that have paid their deposit, you have to query it down to get a list of students. And then you can even query it down further by, like, let's say we want to call people on the East Coast, then we have to query it down further. So in terms of like decisions and things that you want to do, it's really crucial to be able to like get specific data sets, because if you just have like all of the data, it's not going to mean anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, and then I'll talk about this section called dealing with growing concerns about consumer privacy. And it talked about a GDRP, which is indicative of a broader trend toward protecting the privacy of consumers and eliminating the objectives. Some say this will end personalized communication. So then my question is, would you rather have a less personalized experience, but like companies will like extract or will know like less about you? Or would you rather have like a very personalized experience, but companies like have more data on you?
I mean, I guess personally, I would rather have a more personalized experience, just so I would actually enjoy engaging more. And I guess just like filter what you put out there so they don't have as much on you, but you can still have that personalized experience.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of have like a bridge going off of that.
I do too, Christy. Oh my gosh, it's so funny.
That's funny. Yeah, I think like going off of what Lucy said, like I think like maybe like a balance would be nice, but I think like in general, consumer privacy is just a topic we've been talking about in this class or like in our discussions. Um and I remember we talked about in like a previous reading circle that when we see ads like pop up, it like does distract us from our daily lives. And it also makes us like want the product more. Example, like we're seeing how like when we're on Quizlet or something, and then like the clothes you were browsing like just starts popping up on the side, and it's really distracting. So I was just wondering like if like me just like imagining, I guess, like if things get more personalized, I was like, would it be like too much? Like just like literally everything that you're interested in would be like keep popping out. I feel like in some ways it would be distracting. And also like I feel like we also talked about how like when we see products more on ads, like we start like wanting it more. And so I was like, it can alter our views on things in some way. So I was like, just like a thought is just like, when is it too much? And then in the future, would we have ways to like prevent, like maybe like apps on our laptop to like block some of these ads, or just like anything like that? Yeah.
Yeah. Claire, can I do my bridge?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, mine's on the growing concerns of consumer privacy. And I was just saying, like, obviously, as technology becomes more advanced, more privacy is going to be invaded. And I said, as this becomes a growing issue, many companies are trying to find ways to give users back some control over their data. And I said, one of these companies is Apple. According to WashingtonPost.com, Apple has been trying to help consumers achieve more privacy for some time now, and their most recent attempt is quite significant. Apple has created an iOS update that allows users to prevent apps from tracking their location across other apps, and also allows them to decline to share their information. Apple's focus is on pushing back against apps that exploit user data for financial gain. And I said that although there are many issues with consumer data in this day and age and privacy, companies such as Apple have given us hope for taking some privacy back.
Nice. Okay. And then the book kind of talked about artificial intelligence. And so, whoops, actually, yeah. So yeah, I talked about artificial intelligence a little bit. And so like, how could artificial intelligence help a company?
Well, it takes away it takes away like some like manpower. Like if you have artificial intelligence that's capable of scanning through like all this data and making decisions based off of it, then it helps because it speeds up the process. You don't have to have somebody like go in and like read everything. And it can scan through a lot of stuff, and sometimes it's like more accurate than like the human mind. Like obviously like there's like all these debates of like if artificial intelligence is like ethical and if it's like always correct, but sometimes it can be like pretty accurate in terms of like what you want, in terms of like making decisions, because it can scan through data that maybe like a person wouldn't be able to see.
Yeah.
I think it also just like, I mean, yeah, in some cases it does go beyond the human mind. And I think that's super important in certain instances. And I think also like it doesn't necessarily need to like replace certain professionals, more so than it's just there to like enhance their abilities and like help make their jobs just a little bit easier. I also have a bridge on artificial intelligence.
I do too.
Okay, yeah, so mine is on scratching the surface of artificial intelligence. I said that many have predicted that eventually AI will have taken over. However, some say otherwise. According to Forbes, artificial intelligence is not taking over the world, and that the best combo is human intelligence combined with AI. This article states that some things are better in the hands of human professionals, such as surgery in the hands of surgeons. Artificial intelligence has obviously greatly benefited society. However, humans are still just as crucial to its success and growth. Forbes states that the medical, human resources, and legal industries could greatly benefit from a human intelligence / artificial intelligence approach. The AI technology will enhance, not replace these professionals. And then according to VentureBeat.com, Apple is establishing a new campus in North Carolina that is going to focus on machine learning, artificial intelligence, software engineering, and other fields. And I just said that this shows that Apple is adapting to the world of AI and using it in an educational and meaningful manner.
And I just talked about how like from another perspective kind of, but I just said sorry. Oh, okay. I said that I remembered we discussed like what our most used shopping, like what our most used shopping AI is, and then I remember some of us said like chat boxes and like customer service for like retail and online shopping in general. And like I remember we talked about the cons of how like sometimes the wait line is so long, and then they give us like automated answers and that like aren't really doing anything, and we still have to end up waiting for the actual person to come on to answer our questions. And in this section, it talks about how they see like AI and machine learning improve in the future years, which I find pretty cool because then it kind of gives us a solution to what we talked about in our previous reading circles. Like our concerns is like in the future, they are trying to fix that and like improve more. So like our problems that we have brought up might be fixed, and then maybe our wait time will be decreased, and then like they'll probably have better answers. And um, some examples they said that would be improving would be like predictive modeling and image recognition, and that like the book also said that we're just scratching the surface with those services. So like I think in the future it'll be cool to see like how much it will like convenient like our shopping and just like online services in general and customer service. But yeah.
Nice. Okay. Should we do the drawing?
Yay. I hope you guys like it. It's not the best, but
Ooh.
I interpret it as like you're on, I mean, kind of like both ways. Like if you're on Google, like Googling like Nike, whatever, then like you're going to start seeing it on your TikTok and vice versa. Like if you're on TikTok and like you're looking at Nike stuff, then you're going to start getting like Google ads for Nike products.
Yeah, I guess like you're watching a TikTok and it's like a Nike ad, and then your computer is like picking it up. So then your Google ad, when you start getting ads on Nike.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I see it like the same way. You kind of get the same ads across different platforms.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I like that interpretation. I was kind of thinking like with this book being written a few years ago, it didn't really like take into account the mass like impact that TikTok was going to have just on like culture and like advertisements. So the kind of the what I was thinking is like the Google and like the search analytics, like yes, it's still important, but it's kind of like in the gray, like black and white. And then the TikTok and like social media and influencers is like the in color. So like that's what's gonna continue to grow more. And it was talking about in the book how much influencers have grown, and like just now with the use of TikTok, it's gonna get even bigger. So that's kind of what I was going for with that. Also, like you can like the TikTok, like you can measure that with like likes or the influencer that posts it, and you can interact with it more than you can like the search. That was kind of my thought behind it.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, that's it. So does anyone have any final thoughts about the chapter or something you took away that you didn't know before, or not?
I don't know. It's just like the end. It's like moving forward and like what's next. And like some of the what's next, like we're already seeing that because it's like old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we're already seeing so much AI and like issues with consumer privacy. So I guess it just enhanced my knowledge of what I already, was aware of.
Yeah. And I think like also like there's gonna be like new AI tools in the future that we're gonna think like is kind of crazy now.
Mm-hmm.
And have no idea what it's gonna be. But Nice. Did we make time, or should I ask my questions?
Oh no, we definitely made time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's already past 11.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay. I'll